Assalamu alaikum, grade 6. Welcome to our Islamic class. Children, today we will begin with a new unit, Unit B, which deals with faith and miracles, the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. The entire unit is based on the life story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Let's get started. Unit B, Chapter 1, in the Palace of Firaun. In this lesson, we will learn about Firaun, who was a wicked ruler who mistreated the Bani Israel. And we will learn about the birth of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected him from the Firaun. You must have studied about the ancient Egyptian history in your history class, isn't it? What comes to your mind when you hear the word Egypt? Do you think about the huge pyramids and the Nile River? Or do you remember the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam and the Bani Israel, or the children of Israel in Egypt? For we Muslims, Egypt is important because it is the birthplace of Prophet Musa alayhi salam, and not because of its huge pyramids and sphinx. Prophet Musa alayhi salam was born at the time of Firaun. Firaun was a ruler who hated the Bani Israel, the descendants of Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, or Jacob. Firaun thought of himself to be God and wanted his people to obey him and worship him alone. He humiliated and disrespected the Bani Israel. He made the women and men of Bani Israel into slaves, working for very little or no pay at all. Just imagine how cruel he was. The strange prophecy. Prophecy means the prediction of what will happen in future. One day Firaun was told that a boy from the Bani Israel would be born, and this boy would destroy his kingdom. When Firaun heard this prophecy, he became very worried and could not overcome his fear. He was scared that a boy from the Bani Israel would come and destroy him. So a very evil idea jumped to his wicked head. Wicked means evil, morally wrong. He ordered that every male child born to the Bani Israel should be killed. Firaun could not stand the thought of someone else being more powerful than him. Some historians said that Firaun killed thousands of children. The worried mother, Loha, Musa's mother, feared for her unborn baby. She did not want her new child to be killed. She had two other kids, a girl, Maryam, and a boy, Harun. Musa's mother was a very pious and obedient servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So she received an inspiration from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah said in Al Quran, Surah Al Qasas, so we sent this inspiration to the mother of Musa. Feed your child, but when you fear about him, cast him into the river. But do not fear nor grieve, for we shall return him to you, and we shall make him one of our messengers. Allah ordered Musa's mother to put him into a chest, into a box, and send it floating down to Nile River. Musa's mother did what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded her to do. She put Musa into a box and gently slid it onto the waters of Nile. Then she asked her daughter Maryam to follow the box. She was very sad to let her son go, but also knew for sure that one day he would return back to her and become a prophet as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised her. She truly believed in her heart that Allah is the best protector of her child and her family. Musa in the palace of Firaun. The box floated down the river and stopped at a river bank near Firaun's palace. The guards of the palace found the box and the baby. They swiftly took it to Firaun and his wife. Firaun's wife Asiya instantly fell in love with baby Musa because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in her heart strong love for the baby. Firaun's wife was very different from Firaun. He was a disbeliever and she was a believer. He was cruel. She was merciful. She was also very sad because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had not blessed her with a child of her own, she didn't have children. When she saw baby Musa, she picked him up and she cried tears of joy. Firaun was amazed because he had never seen his wife this happy. She asked him if she could adopt the baby, and Firaun agreed. Musa goes back to his mother. Firaun's wife, Asiya, could not breastfeed the baby, so she ordered for nurses to suckle baby Musa. Many nurses were found, but baby Musa refused to drink from their breasts and kept crying, as we learnt earlier. Musa's sister had followed the box floating down the river until it reached Pharaoh's palace. Musa's sister kept roaming around the palace until she learned that Pharaoh's wife and servants were looking for someone Musa could breastfeed from. She waited there until she came to know that Pharaoh's wife Asiya is looking for a person who could feed Musa. Musa's sister told them about a person who could feed the baby. They quickly ordered his sister to find the woman she was talking about. When Musa's sister Maryam arrived home, she saw how worried her mother had become. She wanted to know anxiously what had happened to her baby Musa. Maryam told her about the good news. As soon as she came to know, her worries subsided. She quickly went to the palace. As baby Musa was put to his mother's breast, he instantly started drinking from her milk. Subhanallah, once again, mother and son were reunited by the miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Musa's mother was appointed by Firaun as Musa's nurse. She was now paid good money for feeding her own child. Of course, Firaun and his wife did not know that the new nurse was none other than the baby's mother. When Musa grew up, his mother was allowed the privilege of visiting him in the palace. Allah had given Musa great health. He granted him strength, knowledge, and courage. Children, I'll conclude this session over here. The remaining part we will do in the next class.